The woman, in order to get the house's house, had to secretly to her daughter's poison. Then, she had to lock her body with a box, and then, after doing all this, and with her son, dressed as if there was no way, appeared on the street. This was a chance to see the house, but he turned his eyes, and showed his angerful look. Who knew that night, he was still staring at the son who was eating. When the two of them were eating and drinking, the woman was still full of blood, and then, took the light from the wash, and still took the over the light, and put it on the TV. Then he opened the TV. He was drunk, listening to the music. The next day, the night he came back, he just saw a woman being in the middle. He was in the middle, and he was in a hurry. At the beginning, the landlord was still in trouble. He had to wait for and he had to get back to his house. He had just seen the woman's house's room, keys and a check. He had a bill. He had already gone. The guest had already gone. The guest was ready to leave. The songwriter was still in the middle. He was still in the middle. He had to wait for the song. He had not been able to get it done. He had to have a blood from him. After a long 2 years of investigation, the songwriter's back had a fight. The owner felt the big thing is not good. He immediately went to the woman's house, looking for every corner. But no matter how he looked, there was still nothing that was in his mind. He wanted to open the door at the moment. He was feeling the smell of his face. He could not bear the cold. He came to the center. But the weird thing is, everything is as if it was being carefully treated. He could not find a smell of anything. Even the mop on the floor is smelly. It's obvious that someone is being killed. He had to find the truth behind it. This makes him have to doubt the truth. He found a car traffic record, trying to find the answer. I did not see. He saw the night before he left. The day he left, he did not have a child's voice. He had a huge box, and he was still very weak, so he put it in the back of the box. The landlord was immediately flabbergasted. It's clear that the boy had already been killed. He had to finally come back to his house. He was ready to call the police, but he, for the purpose of his life, did not raise an alarm. He did not even take a deep in the every day. He didn't even put the water in. He even did not, and all the things that she had done, she had to burn down. She thought that she could get a good deal. She didn't even think that he could get a good deal. He had never thought that he had spent the past 2.5. She came back to this hotel. The owner was still in the same place, but she still didn't ask her what was going on. A white car was coming. I didn't even think that the owner's daughter was coming to see him. When the two of them, as soon as they met, the woman immediately said that she was a tenant here. She just moved from the neighborhood. Her daughter immediately got into it. She also took the pleasure to praise her as a good man, bold as to be a good man, being a good man, but she didn't know the woman's identity is not easy. She also thought it was a normal tenant. The result, that night, she thought it was actively spreading her charm. She was actually in the condo's eye, with a red wine, her daughter. When she thought it was a normal tenant, her charm, he walked over. He had actually, under the eye of the owner's eyes, he had to use a wine to steal her money. When he took her, the woman was like a God's wife. She was laughing, making him feel so scary. But his daughter was still alive. She had already become a beast in the eye. She was still in the joy of being able to get out. But when she was in the middle, the woman took the woman's whole family's. He had no doubt to break the condenser's face.
He immediately showed his face off. This moment, he directly showed him his original dead photo. He didn't even think he had his face in the condenser seat. The owner looked at the girl's head and his head was in a circular motion. He immediately felt the situation was wrong. He drove in the night to confirm the girl's safety, but he was just to the destination. When he saw a woman, he was really in the neighborhood. He, without a doubt, got her. He was almost taken by a car. He was sent to the west. When he saw that he was so arrogant, the landlord could not bear it anymore. He was in a hurry to find a woman. He was in a hurry to make a speech. He turned his eyes. This was a man's dream, and the woman was in the middle of a house. He had already admitted that he had killed her. He had already shared the whole process. He also added the woman's tone. He was in the middle of the house. He thought the landlord would hit him. I did not expect the content to be recorded. He had the video and the video as evidence. The next morning he came to the police to prepare to report. But when he was really looking at the evidence, he was in a hurry because he had a closed mouth. But he did not know. Last night he removed the video from the packaging box. He was not even aware he was being seen on the scene. He did not even think. He thought he was in a dead. Who knew that this was her dream? And the woman who was in the middle of a night. He had ice cream. He was not afraid that the landlord would tell her. And he was still without a doubt. He had his house. He was still wearing a suit in front of him, trying to use this method to become the new owner of this place. But I didn't think that this old man would eat this at all. He was angry. He came to the swimming pool, grabbed him. 2 years later, the woman was in no breath, looked at his moving and his body. The man was immediately didn't breathe. Looking at his moving body, the man immediately got his two legs warm. He could turn his head. The woman suddenly changed her mind. She had nothing to do. It was clear that this was a man's dream. He was not aware of this. His anger. He caused the woman to completely lose herself. At the end, she went straight to the owner's room. Directly opened the door, looked for the door, and asked the owner when he gets ready if he doesn't go, if he could find a woman. Don't blame me. The man hears his daughter's name. This has really touched on his bottom. He had touched on his messy face. I thought the owner was dead. Then the actor quickly took away. Before he took away, he did not even look at the closet. Is there any expensive equipment? He was suddenly found in the owner's bag. And he also saw that recording. He had a good reason. He had a good desire. He had almost become a killer. He had to go out and take a deep breath. Who knew the woman? He had already found the secret. But he had not even thought he was going to get 2 miles. He had not even thought he was going to get in. He had a car in front of him. He had never thought he was in his own car in his car. After a while of dark, the woman sat on the top of the car. He had even 200 meters of pressure. He sat there. He was in the cold. He had to tell the owner that he had just killed a man. He needed this happy news. The owner immediately got mad. The woman, in order to reach the target, could really do anything. He immediately came to her friend Piao Kun, and said, the small louche of her, not only chose to silence, even in order to avoid the crazy woman. He had even still a tent. He had already found a man's wrong. He had already decided to go to his house to see what happened. But when he got to the destination, he saw a woman sitting in a car, and the car had a clear hit, and he had not been waiting for the officer to ask what happened. The other guy immediately drove away. At the beginning, he was not too much in. He was just coming to see if his friend was still at home. But the time was just for 2 hours. The owner, a father, a daughter, and his brother, came to see him. When he got close to him, he saw a woman wearing a suit, and he was going to go and ask. The owner had already transferred the house to him. He 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 had a phone call to ask the situation. The result, the other one was not familiar with anything. So the girl immediately contacted her father. But the other one had never been in touch. The smart one, he had a new eye. And the last time the old man got to know the situation, he immediately forced the woman to be forced to get out. This sentence immediately provoked. He took the screw gun. He went out. He didn't hesitate to jump on her back. He took the screw gun in, and then he took the hook. The woman was crazy. He was crazy. The woman was crazy. He was crazy. He had a small no. The man couldn't reach me. Looking at her call, the woman did share her own self, the process of losing her husband's son, and helping her to destroy all the evidence. She was in a hurry. She thought the girl had a moment's sleep. She thought the other guy didn't eat drugs. But looking at her in that serious look, the girl grabbed her head, and then threw her on the floor, and then threw her hard on her, and then threw her hard on her, and then had to wait for her to come back to meet. But to the extent she had never thought. The girl who had the ketchup had already been put in the med bed. The girl who knew the truth, she immediately ran away. The woman who was just following her, and she took a knife,